So nice to see you, Rabbi Goldberg. Thank you for joining me today.
Always great to be with you, Rabbi Shah.
From here in London, and you're in Boca. And of course, we've met many years ago in our early rabbinic lives, but I think now we've come together for this project. And I think for me, it was when I first came to see you, which was a few months ago, when this was just starting to be an idea. And I remember when I told you about the idea of the kind of the theme to mourn and to dance, you shared with me a beautiful idea about why is 8 spod and 8 rukod, as you can see on the wheel behind, not lispod and lirukod. Just to refresh me on that beautiful idea you shared there.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. The incredible words of Shlomo HaMelech, of King Solomon, that have become a very famous song. There, for everything there is a season, and that the world turns. And in that list, and in Shlomo HaMelech and King Solomon contrasting these different emotions and feelings and experiences, they're all contrasted, but in a way that they are independent and opposite of one another. Everything is li or li. It is a time for this or a time for that. They're separate, they're apart, they're exclusive of one another. There are two exceptions, but this one is Asafod and Asrakod. There is a time to mourn and a time to dance. There's not the letter li. It doesn't separate and isolate, because sometimes that the way you grieve and mourn is by dancing. And sometimes you can dance and sing, and your feet are delivering a eulogy. You're mourning through the expression of dance. So these emotions are not in conflict, and therefore they're not independent or separate from one another, but they can work together, and they can complement one another. And that's, I think, in some ways what we all had to navigate, certainly outside of Israel, when we observed Simchat Torah, the night that we had heard of the greatest tragedy and the greatest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust. And we had to find a way to move our feet nonetheless. How could we grieve and mourn and cry and feel broken? And yet, how could we simultaneously dance and sing? And that word, these two words, the lack of the lamed, the fact that the two are not in conflict, but they can complement one another, it's what inspired me, and I think it's what carried our community, and perhaps for a long time, maybe the rest of our lives and beyond, will be the Jewish attitude towards these holidays, this holiday that will forever be associated with this calamity.
I think as I've gone around, I've now been in a few countries with the project and talking to rabbis about it. I think what people have said to me, similar to that, is this is not a one-year project. It's not like this Simchat Torah will do it and then we're done. It's almost forevermore, certainly for our generation, the Simchat Torah is going to be that difficult day connected to the events of 2023.
Absolutely. I think that many rabbis, I'm sure you as well, in our Yizkor drushas today, 70 plus years after the Holocaust, are still invoking Holocaust stories and Holocaust imagery and Holocaust memories, and elevating in our midst the Holocaust survivors who are still here. And similarly, this for us and our generation is our, thank God, in such a smaller scale when you think about the magnitude of the Holocaust, but for us represents the day of the most pain, the biggest hole in our hearts, that gives the most questions for us about why bad things happen to good people and how to make sense of it. And it won't all be resolved, and we won't find relief from it in one year. As you said, I think it will carry on and animate and inform our observance of Simchat Torah for the rest of our lives, or at least for many years to come.
And why, obviously, when I came to see you in Boca that afternoon, why straight away were you so encouraging and so appreciative of what we were trying to achieve?
First of all, I'm a big Rabbi Andrew Shaw fan. Anything that you think of, your creativity and your spiritual entrepreneurship, your ideas are just fantastic.
Thanks.
And I say this because I'm such an admirer. It's always with modesty and humility. It's not about you. It's about the project and the goal and the result, and ultimately about elevating the name of Hashem and the brand of Torah. And so I'm all in on all of the incredible creative projects that you bring. But this spoke to me because as a rabbi of a community, since last Simchat Torah, I've been thinking about next Simchat Torah. And I've been asking myself, what are we going to do? How are we going to navigate this? We don't want to overemphasize the tragedy and diminish or rob the community of the joy of Simchat Torah, but we also can't minimize the tragedy and just focus on the joy. How do we do service, and how are we fair to both elements? And this project is so perfect. It's so beautiful. It's the mantle of the Torah. It's Simchat Torah is the day that we're taking out, we're singing, we're dancing, we're lifting, we're holding the Torah. And for it to carry itself these complementary messages, that it's both, we're singing, we're dancing. And is there a greater testament to those who gave their lives, lost their lives, both on October 7th and since then fighting to defend the Jewish people and our Torah? Is there a greater testament we can give them than to continue to sing and dance with the Torah? to continue to have an energy of a Jewish continuity and Jewish pride and Jewish practice and Jewish values and Jewish study, all the things that Torah represents. So I, as somebody who already was thinking and concerned and worried and trying to be creative, you came and you showed up and you gave a great gift and you said, here it is. But not only is it something for Boca Raton, this is something that will unite Jews and shuls around the world, across denomination, across the spectrum within Orthodoxy, across, it doesn't matter. This will unite us in giving us a framework, and it gives us a language, and it gives us a ritual, and it gives us something that will keep us together in the way that we can navigate this difficult day.
You say about language, I was just in Berlin just yesterday, because talking to the German community about this, which for them, both horrors are still very much present, October 7th and, of course, the show. And in fact, in the shul, there's been rebuilt since Kristallnacht to be exactly like it was pre-Kristallnacht. There's a vibrant community there. Rabbi David Roberts is leading it. It's remarkable. And I'm speaking to people there who can't speak to me in English. We don't have the same language, but the language of Torah, once they saw the meal, they got it. There was no need for a commentary. It's just like, yeah, we understand. And it was a very beautiful moment to understand. I just had to point at it, and they understood what we were trying to achieve.
I'm already picturing just the image of Ata Haresa and opening the Aron and seeing this Torah and this Me'il, to see this covering and to see that icon, that image of the Israeli flag, and to see the name and to see what community or individual it's dedicated to. And also there's something special about, and what I love about your vision for this project is the same way. I know for us that when we turn over the parochas and the covers of the Torah and the cover of the Shulchan of the Bima before the Yamim Noraim, right? The second I walk into shul and we bring out the white of all of that, you're filled with this feeling that it's the same room, same lights, same chairs, same pews, but now it's Yamim Noraim. There's something different. There's something special. It's in the air. There's a different feel. And if you left it white all year long, it wouldn't have that impact. It's because it's only for a few days. It's only for a season and for a period that you say, we've entered that season. No one has to say a word. No chazan has to sing a tune. All you have to do visually, the image of seeing the turnover of the shul, it's a different season. And that's what you've gifted us, is now Simchat Torah will open that Aron and see this Me'il, see this Torah cover. It's a different, it's Simchat Torah, October 7th. It's the 1200 and the hundreds of soldiers, and please God, no more. But it's a new season and it's a different day. And you've given us that ability to lean in and experience it that way. For that, we're all so grateful.
Again, as I said, I appreciate it. I think, as you said, it's all about the community coming together. One of the things that we've been very moved by, as we're now into the, I guess, part we've got to get all the shuls on board, and it's quite a challenge to sign everybody up, was you've had calls and emails from Israel, from communities who have actually lost members on October 7th, either as civilians who were spending Shabbat in a different part of the country, or have lost their brothers, sisters, sons, daughters who fought in the war against Hamas. And they've come to us with a request to say, we want to do this, obviously, but we're a small shul. We can't afford the $1,800. So I guess it's for us to realize as well, we're so grateful in England and America that $1,800, we can do that. Whereas to realize across the Jewish world, that's not the case for many communities, which is why I guess we're trying to reach out to American shuls and British shuls, or to say, can you donate the Torah for Israel, for certain countries as well? That sense of peoplehood that we understand we need to help each other to make sure we can all be connected on this day.
100%. In the aftermath of October 7th, right after that Simchat Torah, there was this swell of unity and this connection that felt like it could never be broken, and how foolish we were to have allowed these divisions to be sowed within our midst. And so sadly, here we are not even a year later, and so much of that division and divisiveness and machlokas, the Sitra Achra, it's the other side, it's the dark side that's working so hard to sow this division again. And we've got to fight back. And this is a project that allows us to unify. And it's not a debate about who should serve in the army. It's not a debate about funding shivas. It's not a debate about right and left and politics and what should happen in Gaza and the aftermath. This is just something that everyone can rally around. The Torah. It is as mom and apple pie for the Jewish people. It is just as straightforward and simple. There's no debate. There's no room to argue. It's the Torah, a cover for the Torah. That's it. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful image that those who can afford it should not only sponsor a Torah for their shul, but for another. And therefore, you're not only ensuring your participation, but you're enabling another participation, and you're allowing everyone to participate. So imagine if we can say, shuls around every shul, the Jewish people are united around the world. They are dancing with the same cover.
Which is moving on now, obviously, to the launch, which we're hoping that the plan is to launch in Eretz Israel at the Kotel or others on Rosh Chodesh Elul. The idea of trying to bring everyone together from the whole world to converge on the Kotel that day, to then go back out to your communities. And also, you gave the idea that once that Me'il arrives back in the shul after the launch, there's an opportunity to do, Torah taken into schools. There's celebration in essence with the commemoration. How would you understand what that's going to be like in terms of going to Israel, meeting the families, coming back with the Me'il and those sort of things?
It's so important. It's so important to maintain these connections. There are Jews who still live around the world, and there are legitimate reasons that people can't yet make Aliyah, but everyone has to struggle with, not if, but when. And the default should be this magnetic pull and this connection and this desire to be there. And every opportunity that we can find that can connect us, that can bring us there, that can bring a small piece of it back to us is one we should grab. I've tried every Friday night since October 7th, I've tried to make Kiddush on a bottle of wine from Israel. And I do it not only because it's supporting the wineries in Israel that have been so negatively impacted, many of them by the war, particularly up north. And I do it not only because they're delicious wines, but my family knows, and at this point makes fun of me, when I take the cork out of that bottle of wine, there's some of the air of Israel that's now at our Shabbos table. So I call over one of my children, come, I'm going to take the cork out, quick. You breathe in that air. Avira de Eretz Yisrael, you breathe in that air. And so I think these connections, they're so critically important. It's our lifeblood. It's who we are. It's what we daven for. So again, that image of a kibbutz galios, of a gathering of the exiles from everywhere to meet in the capital of the Jewish people, the eternal undivided capital of the Jewish people, and Kimi Zion Tete Torah. That's what we sing and that's what we say. It's from...
Do I need to be there? Do I need to be in Israel for the launch to meet the family? And I kind of say, it's not you need to be there. You should want to be there. You should want to connect.
Right.
But again, it's also a financial thing as well, which we got to help. But when you talk about the wines from Israel, we were very insistent. The Me'il is being produced in Israel, only in Israel, because we felt very strongly that we wanted this to be made by Israelis and Israeli companies. Could we get it cheaper anywhere in the world? Maybe we could have done. But our whole goal was to print this as a Me'il, the product of Eretz Israel, and made by people there, because it's
beautiful.
That, as you said, this is a project for Israel, made in Israel, to go around the Jewish world.
Incredible. An honor to be part of it. It's really special, and I think it will carry for a long time and be something people look forward to. I think children, the measure of this being a success will be when not this Simchat Torah, but next year, the day before, children will say, oh, tomorrow's when we change the cover of that Torah. Tomorrow's when we're taking out that special Torah, right? I remember that, and I remember the connection. I remember the feeling. And it'll be a ritual that we can do, just like turning over for Yom Noraim, turning over the Torah for Simchat Torah to connect with one of the holy Kedoshim, one of the holy souls that was lost.
I mean, one of the things that's been suggested again by other Rabbanim is obviously on Shmini Atzeret, as in Simchat Torah in Israel, Shmini Atzeret in Chutz La'aretz. And when we say the Yizkar prayer, that's the first time the community sees the Torah, because then it's being used for 8 Sfod. And then later on that night, when they do Atareta, they suddenly see it in a different format. It's now 8 Chod. And again, it's a beautiful way of using those two occasions 100%. Within our calendar to tell the story of what the project is. We're saying the Kaddish, the Kel Male, with it, and then we're dancing with it as well, on literally with a few hours apart.
It's the Jewish story. This has been our story for the last 2,000 years of Eis Svod, Eis Rakod. That's been our story, is that we pause and we say the Yizkar, and then we get up and we dance. And we've had no choice. That is our story. It's our story. It's our ongoing story right now as we continue to get devastating news. And please God, we shouldn't hear of any more losses of soldiers. But it's our heroes have taught us that we pause and we mourn and we grieve, and then we get up and we continue to dance.
This is the prototype. So I'm sure you know that the name, this is the first name we had put on the top, was Daniel Perez. Because to me, obviously, Rav Doron is the sort of the head of our movement, but also he told us that at the wedding of Yonatan, he was at exact same time mourning his son Daniel while dancing with absolute simcha for his son Yonatan. So again, he shared that phrase, inspired him within his torment of the wedding and the joy of the wedding of what a Jew, as you said, must do or needs to do, always has done.
Absolutely.
So I think again that's just meaning that's one, and there'll be 1,500 and different names. And again, as you said, please God, it should stop. Meaning we should have no new names to put on between now and Torah.
Exactly.
But no, it's something that is, I think, unifying the Jewish world, which is beautiful across, as you said, across all different stripes and sizes. Like the emails we're receiving, we got yesterday from Mauritius, Brazil, Colombia, Finland. Just shuls are emailing us, and
Amazing.
it's very special to bring everyone together. Please God for something which is negative because of what happened, but it's less than something please God positive will do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for all that you're doing for this and so much more.
And you too, as I said, it's lovely. We hear your Torah every day in our house. So it's lovely that I can not just hear you live, but also hear you recorded for your.
If we first met and started when we were younger rabbis, how is it that you still look the same and I look like I've aged? Is it America that does that?
I couldn't possibly comment.
Can possibly comment. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
And please God, we'll see each other next time. Maybe in other contact.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.